Last night was the presidential debate. I told you guys I was going to go over that, and we're going to look at it from the perspective of, let's see here. We're going to look at the betting markets before it started. Let's look at the betting markets before it started. Hold on, let me pull that up for you right now. We got, all right, so yesterday at 8:17 is when I took my first screenshot. It was Trump 52%, Harris 46%. 9 p.m., I try to get something exactly right when it started. Trump 52%, Harris 47%. And the one that I use, I just go to polymarket.com. You could kind of see what people are doing as far as putting money behind what type of decisions that they think they may make or what other people might make. This is why I don't like to go by the polls, because the polls, people are they can change their mind. Once you put some money into something, you usually believe in it a little bit more. At 10:06, 49%, 49%. This was during the first commercial break. I said, let me go get a snapshot. And then after it was over, it went back to Trump 50%, Harris 49%. And then a little bit after that, I saw that Taylor Swift endorsed her. So I wanted to see if that made a difference. A little bit later, it was tied again at 49%, 49%. This morning, she was up at 8:52 a.m., 50% to 49%. And let's see where it is right now when I'm recording this. Let's see. Now Trump's back up 50% to 49%. And the takeaway from this is it's going to be close. So that's what the betting markets are saying. A lot of people are going to try and spin who won, who the victor was based on their side, based on who they're voting for, based on what TV network they work for. But remember, anytime you're getting anything political from me, this is the disclaimer. I forgot to give it a little earlier. You're only going to get a nonpartisan, unbiased take on anything I'm talking about when it comes to politics. So if you're looking for an echo chamber, go somewhere else. So we went over the betting markets. Now, I want to talk about why the debate is important and what it's supposed to highlight. And I'm also going to talk about the overall strategy and takeaways, some things I would have done differently if I was on each side. But let's talk about why the debate is important and how that is going to translate into leadership. During the debate, one of the biggest things that's on display is someone's ability to communicate. And communication is key. We just talked about how communication can go left field, right field, and in directions that you don't want it to go because you're not communicating or conveying your message properly, like I talked about in the first segment. So there's communication. Then there's thinking under pressure. You know what? Let's see how many people watched it last night. You know what? I forgot to look that up. Viewership for debate. Let's see what the TV ratings were. So this is the first one that popped up. I'm seeing, let's see. It says 65 million viewers. I think, so this is according to New York Daily News. Yeah, New York Daily News, 65. NBC says 57.5. Forbes, 57. I'm going to stick with Forbes. They're usually good when it comes to numbers. Let's call it 55 million people then. Go a little bit lower. It's a lot of people that tuned in. And a lot of it is because you never had a chance to measure each candidate against each other. And that's why I talked about that the debate is so important, because this is an opportunity for you to kind of get a chance to measure each one against the other. So there's the communication aspect of it that you're going to be looking for. There's going to be how they think under pressure. And the reason I say I brought up the viewership when I saw the thinking under pressure is because that's a lot of people watching you. That's almost Super Bowl numbers. I think the Super Bowl is like 100-something million in the U.S. that watches it. This is close to the Super Bowl. You want to see how they react. They're under the lights. If you had a chance to see the setup that they had, it was like inside of like a game show almost. They had the clock up on the wall. They had a special setup built for them, and it was just them and the moderators. Then when you look at how those things kind of interact with each other, you think about how that would translate into leadership. So it's going to be, do people think, like, when you're watching, it's like, oh, do I like this person? Do I not like this person, right? That's how most people vote. Then there's people that's listening for policy. Okay, these policies align with what I'm thinking. Okay, let me vote for them because of this. Or, you know what? I'm looking to see how they handle things under pressure or how they communicate, because guess what? God forbid we're looking at the precipice of World War III. What's going to be important then? Communication, thinking under pressure, and how they react. Let's say that they got to go have a conversation with Xi and Putin and anybody else that might be involved, Kim Jong-un, or any other leader in the world. You got to be able to communicate and think under pressure in a situation like that, especially if the sake of the world is up for grabs, because this is the person that we're going to have going in there to speak or negotiate or have to deal with such potential consequential decisions. And that's really the way that you want to look at these debates, is just how those things would translate into other aspects of leadership. Now, I think what was interesting is, from the beginning, just some of my overall thoughts. If you want somebody to, like, what I would recommend is go and listen to all the conservative and all the liberal shows speak about it. This way you can get a good idea from both sides and hear all the different arguments and the different ways that everything is broken down, so it can help you make a decision for whatever decision you're looking to make. In the beginning, I thought it was interesting that she walked over and initiated and did the handshake, right? That's something that's going to be looked at as very presidential. She walked to do it. And, you could tell she put a lot of time and energy to prepare for this. And that doesn't mean that everything that either one of them said is exactly what they're going to do. This is kind of like, listening to someone give you a sales pitch. You could imagine it's like, there's your ex. You have 4 years with your ex. Now here's somebody that's coming along and you're trying to decide, do you want to go back to the old thing? Do you want to try something new? But you know what? You know what you're getting with your ex, but you don't know what you're getting with the new one. This is kind of like what's going through people's minds, and this is how it's kind of being framed, because that was what Trump kind of broke down is, hey, listen, when I was here, things were good. You guys took over, nothing was good. And Kamala Harris is like, well, look, these are the things I'm going to do going forward. Here's the different policy points that I want to make. And here's how I want to try and shift the conversation to what I'd like to lead us to if she gets elected. So it's going to be up to you to watch footage, look at everything, and kind of come to your own decision on what you felt like. But I think overall, she started off, she put him on the defensive a couple of times. Then, like in the beginning, Trump didn't seem fully engaged, but after a few minutes, he woke up and started to get locked in, and he started to, really make the points that he was trying to make. They both dodged a bunch of questions. They just moved on to the other stuff. But again, like I said, you want to get all those things highlighted, just go and actually watch the debate, see how you feel, see how they make you feel first. Which one do you feel like you would have more confidence in? Then, if you want to kind of get granular and break down into the details, go to the different networks. Personally, I always listen to both networks just to see how they both spin, how everything is done. I didn't do that for this specifically because I didn't want anything to kind of sway me in my thoughts before I talked about it. So I'm going to do that a little bit later after I put this out, just to kind of see what they're saying about who they felt like won. I'm going off the sentiment from the betting markets. According to the betting markets, that would indicate people feel like Kamala had a good performance and that it just made the race closer, as I outlined before. This is what people are doing. They're putting their money behind those decisions. So that's what I would do. I mean, maybe at one point in the next couple of weeks, I'll outline more of what their policies are and kind of explain how those policies would work, or if they're even something that could be passed. Maybe that's something that I'll do. But like I said, you're just going to want to listen to them, see which one resonates with you, and then do some research about what ideas and thoughts they have and how those ideas and thoughts go with you. I had some cliff notes. I took a lot of notes while I was watching it, but I think we've spoken about this enough. I think that's everything I want to cover with the debate, and we'll see how things line up over the next couple of weeks.